Do you worry about your accent when speaking English? Do accents really matter? In this video, I'm going to talk about when your accent might matter and when it really doesn't, so that you can stop stressing and start speaking English with confidence. So let's get into it. So first, let's look at some situations in which your accent might actually matter. Number one is clarity. If people struggle to understand you, it might be because of your accent. For some people, some sounds might be difficult for them to understand if they are not pronounced correctly. So improving your pronunciation of certain sounds can make it easier for other people to understand you. This doesn't mean changing your whole accent, it means focusing on the specific sounds that people might struggle to understand. So go into YouTube and have a look for English sounds that are difficult for example, Spanish speakers or Hindi speakers or Japanese speakers. There will be lots of videos that will help you improve the key parts of your pronunciation that might be difficult for people to understand. Next, let's talk about professional situations. There might be some jobs in which having a clear, neutral accent can be very helpful. So if you work in customer service or public speaking or any kind of job where you're talking to people a lot, having a clear accent can be very helpful. But remember, this isn't about changing who you are, it's about making communication smoother. So again, we're talking about clarity here. And the third point I have is personal preference. So some people might want to sound like a particular group of people. Maybe you want an American accent, or maybe you want a British accent. That is personal preference. Having a particular accent might help you fit in or feel connected to a certain group. That's okay, but it's a personal choice. You don't have to sound like a native speaker to communicate well. If you're enjoying this video and you want more tips on taking your English to the next level, don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you can share this video with a friend, that would really help the channel to grow. Thanks a lot. Now, let's talk about why your accent doesn't matter in many situations. First, and most importantly, English is a global language. People speak English with many different accents, and native speakers are usually used to hearing people speak English with different accents. So they will usually be able to understand you as long as you're speaking clearly. In these situations, people will not have a problem with your accent. Again, clarity is the key. Next, we have cultural identity. Your accent is part of your cultural background. It shows where you're from, and that's important. Don't be afraid to show your accent because your accent is an important part of who you are. The third point I want to talk about is fluency over accent. So what do I mean? I mean that fluency is more important than accent. Sometimes people focus too much on having the perfect accent, but if you focus on accent too much, then you might forget about important things like speaking fluently and confidently. Remember, the important thing is to communicate your ideas well, not to sound like a native speaker. So, what's the best way to think about your accent? Focus on clarity and don't worry too much about changing your accent. So, practice saying words clearly, especially with sounds that people struggle to understand. Listen to native speakers and think about how their intonation changes when they speak, how their intonation goes up and down. I like to suggest to my students to record themselves so they have a record of their improvement over time. So a few small changes can make a big difference. So focus on one or two sounds that you think you need to improve. So you can look in a mirror, you can watch your mouth movement and check, is it the same as when a native speaker makes those sounds? So this kind of practice is going to make your speech clearer without changing your accent completely. To sum up, accents are part of who we are. In some situations, such as professional situations, your accent might be important and you should focus on speaking clearly. But in most situations, your accent doesn't matter. It's much more important to be clear than to have the perfect accent. Remember, English is a language for everyone. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments, how do you feel about your accent? Is it something you're working on? Is it something you're proud of? I'd really love to know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.